When putting your new pad onto the Tomcat Edge auto scrubbers, you want to keep in mind that we're going onto the plate and not the front of the deck. The front of the deck is where the water is going to come down this hose and curtain feed down the length of the whole front of the pad. From there, we take our pad, we want to line it up with the Velcro plate on the bottom. So your pad will sit behind the water rail and Velcro up to the machine itself. When putting your squeegee onto the rear of any auto scrubber, it's important to note that your turn knobs operate freely if they need to. We can squirt those with some WD-40 or some penetrating oil to make sure they move freely. When putting it onto the squeegee frame, your squeegees will go on like so, and we want to hand tighten the knobs. We do not want to over tighten the knobs. That way, if we do hit a corner or something interferes with the squeegee is designed to break away and not do any damage to the machine. And then we replace the hose so our squeegee is nice and ready to go. When working on a squeegee, inspecting your blades is very critical, making sure we're wearing evenly across the length of both the front and rear blades. If you notice that your blades are wearing out on the edges, but they look really good in the middle, we may need to make an adjustment here on your adjustment wheels, which is provided also with a wrench on the Tomcat machines. Same thing if we're wearing out more in the middle than on the ends, adjustments can be made so our squeegees will track nice behind the machine as well as level left to right. If blades need to be flipped, there's a quick latch for the rear blade that will come off. And the rear blade can easily pull off for inspection, for cleaning, or for flipping. Your front blade is going to be attached by 8 wing nuts across the front. When we unscrew all 8 of those, this front squeegee band is also easily removable. So we can clean and replace our blades. It's also important to clean the track of the squeegee where the blades are going to sit nice and flush up against the metal frame. That way there's no rocks or debris that's going to interfere with the performance of the squeegee. When replacing our squeegee blades back on, we just simply reverse the process, make sure our blades line up into the holes. The front squeegee band also will go back on. I typically will start from the center and work my way out, making sure that they're finger tight. I don't need any extra tools to get the squeegees on and off. It's also a good idea to always make sure that your casters freely spin, and if there's any dirt or debris or hair or fuzz that gets in there, either cut that out with a pocket knife or replace the caster in its entirety. Now our front band is universal, can be flipped from left to right. The rear band is offset. So after we put our blade onto the machine, we need to make sure that we put these wings up onto the bolt. If we put them upside down, they're not going to go as far, and when our squeegees try to flex, we may potentially cut into the floor. So it's very important to put these on the same way they came off, which is the same way from the factory, and we can always reference the owner's manual if we're not 100% sure. The receivers will easily mount over each lug, and then the long portion of the band will go down first, followed by the smaller receiver, followed by the quick latch. So for this section, what we're going to talk about is our battery maintenance. Owner's manual and battery specifications will dictate that we check our batteries once a week on everyday use. My personal preference is on Monday mornings because on a Monday, we get the job done. On Friday, if we forget, it could end up being detrimental for the machine. So make sure we wear our proper PPE. We have goggles, we have our gloves. We are going to remove the top half of the battery. So we remove that cover. We can see inside that there is battery acid there, so take all your personal precautions. I'm going to be using a battery fill bottle filled with distilled water. This double action nipple will prevent any overfilling or underfilling, providing that I have enough fluid in the bottle to fill the batteries up to their proper levels where they need to be, which will be just under the filler neck sight tube, but over the lead plates. The bottle itself, you'll feel and you can audibly hear it bubble. When it stops bubbling, that means that the battery is filled to its appropriate level and we can move on to the next cell. The more you use the machine, the more fluid it may take inside the batteries. But it's always important to do the battery watering after it's been removed off of the charger. When I'm done, I want to replace my cap so it's fully seated and properly replaced. And I'll do that to every single cell of the battery under every cap. I'll wiggle my battery connections to make sure that they are nice and tight, tighten them if need be, and make sure our rubber boots are all in place. What we want to go over now is charging the machine. Whether you're coming in as the incoming user or when you're all done, what's the best way to utilize your charging process? Typically, if you're the first incoming user, the power will be on your charger and the red plug will be into the back of the machine. The proper steps to take your machine and bring it out into use would be to shut the charger off if it is equipped with an on-off button and remove the red charging plug. Then I can take my machine and I can go out and do my cleaning. When I'm all done and I'm ready to return the machine, charging the machine will be best utilized if it's been more than 20 minutes of use and you're all done with the machine. So if you've used it for 20 minutes, half an hour, or 2 hours, and you're all done with the machine for the day, we bring it back to the closet, we've cleaned it up, then we want to put it back on the charger. So anything over 20 minutes and you're all done with the machine, it is recommended that we put them back on the charger. So for that step there, I'm still plugged into the wall, my charger is off, I'll plug that into the red charger port and I will turn the charger on, making sure that the key on the machine is off so that there's no short circuits. Secondly, we do run into sometimes with customers, they'll purchase a piece of equipment and it might not get used all the time. So on a spare piece of equipment, even though it's battery operated, we still want to make sure that the batteries are always fully charged. So to do this, our once a week battery maintenance, where we're not filling the batteries because we haven't used the machine for a week, when we come in, the charger is automatically going to be shut off. So what we want to do is, even though this charger switch is on, the charger is off. It's not making any humming noises or any buzzing. So what we want to do is turn the charger off. We wait a few seconds to let things reset, and then we can turn the charger back on. If your charger is not equipped with an on-off button, we would simply walk over to the red plug, unplug it, and plug it back in, and that will restart the charger, keeping the batteries fully charged for the week, whether we use the machine or not.